Okay, as you can see, I have my supplies, my needle puller, my leather thimble, my pencil for drawing on where I erase with my hand. Sorry. My thread, which it's a bold hand quilting thread. People keep asking me what kind of thread I use, and that's what I use. So right now I am stitching in the ditch with my bold hand quilting thread, and I thought if I placed my camera right in front of me, everybody could see better how I'm stitching. Okay. I haven't got my microphone yet, so hope I'm loud enough that you can hear. I feel like my camera's not straight. All right. I haven't been going the whole way across, the whole quilt. I go a couple blocks and then I do my designs. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. This little fabric here, this bubble fabric right here, it's nice because it's so soft, but it does make it a little bit harder to quilt because it's thicker, and it just makes it a little bit harder for the needle to go through it. But sometimes I take a stitch at a time, because right now I can see that the fabric is kind of separated underneath, so it's not on one side or the other. Usually it's on one side or the other, like right here. I could tell the fabric's all on this side. But when you put your quilt together, sometimes the seam will move from one side to the other, or just separate and go both ways, which that's what it's doing right here, because there's not a definite ditch. So that also will make it harder to stitch in the ditch without your needle slipping. So a lot of times I'll just do a stitch at a time right there until I get past that spot, and then I can stitch in the ditch again, because it's not usually the whole seam that's separated. It might just be part of it, and then you can go ahead and stitch in a ditch, which it still feels a little thick right in there because of the bubble fabric. So it can still be a challenge. But I guess it's doable if you want to do it, if you want to tackle that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm going to tie my thread off right here at the end of the block. And, oh goodness, I don't have my scissors over here. So, my scissors were at my sewing machine, because I was sewing yesterday on the machine. Okay. guess now I'm going to start on my design. Sorry, my big hands are getting in the way. This here is the interlocking parts design. If you see that. And I have them marked where I put them on my quilt so that when I get to the other end of the quilt, I will know which block I put them in, because that way I can match it on the other end when I get to the very end of my quilt. So that's why I have those. I wrote on them to tell me where I put them. Sometimes I start out and I don't get this stitch quite even, so it looks bigger than what I want. You can rip them out and start again if you don't like your stitches, but I think it'll be doable. And as I said before, you can use the same color thread as your material so that you don't see the stitches as much. You can see there's a design, but you don't see each stitch as easily because it blends in. See where I need to go here. But I wanted to use a thread that would stand out a little bit more. So that's why I picked the light blue. Maybe it wasn't a good choice, but it's the way it is. Okay, here I'm going, I call it up the hill. And sometimes I will put a leather thimble on my thumb that I have stretched out, but I don't have any right now. The ones that I had, I got holes in and I threw them away. But when they get worn, and they do tend to stretch this way, I will put it on my thumb, which this one won't fit on my thumb right now. But it'll help protect my thumb because I sometimes use my thumb to push my needle up the hill. Because when you're in a quilting frame, you cannot turn your frame like you can in a hoop, so that you're always stitching either side to side or downwards. Like I do like to stitch from the top down if I can, but designs like this, you can't always do that. So sometimes you have to go up the hill, and that can be a little difficult sometimes. Yeah, I think you can see my stitching pretty well in the photo. What I need to do is erasing these as I go with my hand rubbing on them. So I like to draw them in so I know where my lines are, and I can get a good line. So sometimes you just have to keep drawing them back in. trouble with this pencil is it rubs off very easily. I kind of like it that way for a reason, so you don't have pencil marks when you're done, but it's also difficult because it rubs off too easy, and then you have to reapply it before you get your stencil quilted. I do use my middle finger sometimes to, my thimble finger, to push up the hill too, but sometimes, I don't know, it's just the way the needle's angled. I feel like I need to use my thumb. But right there, yeah, I can use my finger. Okay, we're getting to the end of my thread, and I'm going to tie it off and get a new piece because it's getting too short. Okay, now when I tie it off, I double stitch it, and then I go through the middle of the fabric and cut my thread. Now when I knot my thread, I'm only knotting one side. Also, the other side isn't knotted. So you have two pieces here folded, but only this side's knotted. This just doesn't want to stay on. Okay, I'm gonna start up here and go down. If anybody has any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will answer them as soon as I can. Some days I have a hard time talking and quilting. So, excuse me if I'm not talking a lot today while I'm doing this pattern. Because I feel like I need to be concentrating on the pattern. video again, and to the side. Sometimes if the fabric feels a little thick, so I'll get my puller and pull my needle through. Saves on my wrist and hand, because it's hard on your hand when you're trying to pull the needle and it keeps slipping. When you get near the edge, sometimes your needle will slip out. You can hear it popping out of the fabric, so you want to redo it, because that way, if it's popping out, you're not catching all 3 layers. So you want to make sure you're getting clear to the bottom and back up. Want to make sure all 3 layers are caught in your needle, so that you're having, that's what's holding the quilt together, is your stitches. So if you don't catch the bottom layers, your quilt's not going to stay together. So, and plus it gives a nice design on the back, so you want to be able to see the stitches on the back also. Sorry for my raspy voice. I've had COVID about 3 weeks ago, and I still am having issues with my voice. Okay. So, I only have 3 of these little hearts done. I'm going to keep quilting, and in my video here, because I don't like to do long videos and bore you with my, long drawn out videos, I will make another video, and that way, if you only have 15-20 minutes to watch one video, then that's good. Then you can take another 15 minutes, 20 minutes later and watch another video. But for right now, I'm going to stop my video here, and I'm going to tell you to keep quilting and have fun doing it. And we will see you next video. Bye.